Have you ever stood in front of a mirror, not just to check your reflection, but to truly see yourself? Pause for a second. How often do we really face ourselves? Most of us move through life dodging the uncomfortable truths. We bury our pain under distractions, chase temporary highs, and avoid the silent corners of our own minds. But deep down, we've all felt it, that heaviness, that inner struggle between who we are, who we want to be, and what the world expects from us. Ever felt trapped in your own thoughts, torn between desires, fears, and endless expectations? These are the questions we tend to run from, but they hold the keys to something deeper. Because life isn't always smooth. It brings suffering, loss, disappointment, and at times it feels like no matter what we do, we just can't escape it. But what if we didn't have to escape suffering? What if we could understand it, even grow from it? Buddhism offers a radical perspective. Suffering isn't the enemy. It's a teacher, a guide, not something to run from, but something to learn from. Can pain really become wisdom? Can sorrow lead to peace? In this series, we'll explore these powerful insights together. But before we dive in, I have a small favor to ask. Thousands watch these videos, but less than 1% subscribe. If this message speaks to you, if it stirs something within you, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Insightful Journey. It helps more than you know, and I'd genuinely love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Now let's begin. Impermanence, the law of change we all know, but rarely embrace. Everything changes, our bodies, our thoughts, the world around us. We see the seasons shift, birthdays come and go, loved ones age. Yet somehow, we still resist it. We cling to people, memories, objects, hoping they'll last, but nothing does. And that's not a tragedy, it's reality. Impermanence is one of the core truths in Buddhism, not just a theory, a law of nature. When we deeply understand that nothing lasts forever, it can feel like a double-edged sword. Yes, it's painful. We must face the reality of loss. But it's also freeing, because we can let go of what no longer serves us. Think about something or someone you've clung to, a relationship, a dream, a past version of yourself. Maybe you feared what would happen if it changed. But in time, didn't it lead to something new? Maybe not easier, but perhaps more real. There's a practice in Buddhism called mindful letting go. It doesn't mean giving up or disconnecting. It means loving fully without grasping, caring deeply without the fear of loss controlling you. When we accept the ebb and flow of life, the seasons within and around us, we begin to experience a quiet kind of peace. Yes, life will change, people will change, you will change. But in that change there is growth, there is freedom, there is the beginning of true wisdom. So stay with me as we journey deeper into this path. What we uncover together just might change the way you see suffering, impermanence, and yourself. Imagine just for a moment you're holding a delicate flower. You admire its beauty, how it glows in the sunlight, how its petals seem to hold the warmth of life itself. But deep down, you know something. No matter how much you cherish it, the flower will wilt. Its petals will fall. Its colors will fade. Now ask yourself, how would you treat that flower if you truly understood its impermanence? Would you cling to it tightly, afraid to lose it? Or would you simply appreciate it fully in the moment, knowing its beauty is fleeting? Life is much the same, a series of precious passing moments, each one unique, each one impermanent. When we embrace this truth, not just understand it intellectually, but feel it, something within us begins to shift. We stop grasping, and we start cherishing. But let's be honest, how do we deal with the pain of loss? How do we face the constant change that life throws our way? The answer is acceptance, not passive resignation, not pretending not to care, but a courageous, clear-eyed acknowledgement of life as it is, without trying to twist it into something it's not. Acceptance allows us to grieve what's gone, while still honoring what was. It allows us to feel the pain and still choose gratitude. There's a story in Buddhism. A man, broken by the loss of his only child, went to the Buddha in desperate search of relief. He asked, "How do I stop this pain?" The Buddha listened, then gently gave him a task. "Go into the village," he said, "and find a household untouched by death. Bring me a mustard seed from their home." The man went. He searched every door. But every family, every single one, had known loss. A parent, a child, a sibling, a friend. Grief was everywhere. He returned with empty hands, but a full heart. The lesson wasn't to diminish his pain, but to reveal a deeper truth. No one escapes loss. But in accepting that reality, we find something unexpected: peace. Impermanence doesn't have to be a source of despair. It can be a reason to live more fully, to love more openly, to hold our moments and our people with reverence, to stop waiting for someday and start living now, because nothing lasts forever. And that's what makes what we have, right now, so incredibly precious. And here's something else. Have you ever felt like you're holding the reins of your life too tightly? Trying to control every detail, every outcome, every person around you? We all do it. Because control feels safe. It gives us the illusion that we're steering the ship. But what happens when life doesn't follow our script? There's an old Buddhist saying, "Control is an illusion." And if you really sit with that for a moment, it begins to make sense. We can't control time. We can't control others. Sometimes we can't even control ourselves. Plans fall apart. People change. Life shifts. And the harder we try to hold on, the more anxious and exhausted we become. Sleepless nights, endless worrying, trying to predict or prevent every possible outcome. It's draining. So what's the alternative? Letting go, not giving up, but letting go of the need to control what we can't. It's a kind of surrender, not of power but of illusion, a surrender that brings peace. Imagine a river. It doesn't force its way through the rocks. It flows around them. It adapts, it carves, it carries. That's the wisdom we're invited to embrace, to live with effort, but not with grasping, to act, but without being consumed by attachment to the results. When we stop fighting life's currents, we begin to flow with them, and in that flow, we find not just peace, but freedom. If this message speaks to you, I invite you to reflect. What are you holding on to right now? And what would it feel like to let go? There's something beautiful that happens when we stop trying to control everything. When we let go of the need for things to go exactly as planned, something shifts. Life becomes lighter, our minds become clearer, and our hearts a little more open. Because the truth is, we don't have to micromanage every part of our lives. We can be present in the moment. We can trust that things will unfold the way they're meant to. Maybe not perfectly, but meaningfully. Of course, letting go isn't easy. It takes courage. It asks us to trust, not just in the world around us, but in ourselves. It's trusting that whatever comes our way, even the unexpected, even the painful, we can meet it with strength, grace, and wisdom. Think about a time in your life when you resisted change. Maybe you held on to a relationship, a job, a role, or even a version of yourself, just because it felt safe. But deep down, You knew it no longer served you. And yet, when you finally let go, when you surrendered, life opened up. Sometimes, the very thing we fear the most is the door to something greater. You see, control is often driven by fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of uncertainty, fear of things falling apart. But what if we accepted that life isn't meant to be controlled? What if instead of managing every moment, we just experienced it, like a river flowing freely, carving its path through stone? We, too, can flow with life. And in that flow, there's peace. There's freedom. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means no longer needing everything to go your way to feel okay. It's realizing that security doesn't come from controlling life. It comes from knowing you'll be okay, no matter what life brings. And yes, this isn't a one-time lesson. It's something we return to again and again. But the more we practice letting go, the more we trust the journey, the more we begin to live with clarity, with presence, and with peace. So as you move forward, remember, you don't need to control every outcome. You just need to be here. Now entrust that you already have everything you need. Now let's talk about something deeper, something many of us feel but rarely talk about. Loneliness. In a world more connected than ever, loneliness still lingers. Endless notifications, social media, messages. Yet somehow we feel more disconnected from others and from ourselves. Loneliness isn't just about being alone. It's about feeling unseen, unheard, unknown. It's that quiet ache that whispers, something's missing. You might be surrounded by people, yet still feel isolated. You might have hundreds of followers, but still feel invisible. And you're not alone in that. Loneliness is something everyone experiences, no matter how together their lives may look from the outside. But here's a perspective you might not have heard. Loneliness isn't just emotional. It's spiritual. It reflects a deeper disconnection, not just from others, but from ourselves. We scroll, we search, we reach out, hoping something out there will fill the emptiness inside. But it never quite does, because the connection we're really looking for is the one within. Buddhism teaches that no external relationship, no person, no possession can complete us, not truly, because we're not broken to begin with. What we need isn't out there. It's already inside us. The more we turn inward, the more we begin to rediscover our own wholeness. And from that space, genuine connection flows outward. There's a beautiful Buddhist concept called interbeing. It reminds us that we are all part of a vast, interconnected web. Nothing exists in isolation. Not you, not me, not anything. Even in your loneliest moments, you're never truly alone. You're part of something much greater than yourself. The trees, the sky, the people walking past you, the stranger who smiled at you once. All of it is connected. You are connected. So when loneliness comes, let it guide you, not to scroll or distract, but to sit quietly with yourself, to listen, to feel, to remember who you are beneath all the noise, because in that silence you might just hear it. The truth that you are whole, that you are worthy, and that you already belong. You don't have to fix everything. You don't have to be everything. You just have to be here. Let go, trust the flow, and reconnect with yourself, with the moment, with life. Everything else will follow. There's a quiet moment that comes when we begin to understand something powerful. We are not alone, not in our joys, not in our struggles, not in the ache of loneliness. When we truly grasp the interconnectedness of all beings, loneliness begins to loosen its grip. We realize that the fears we carry, the wounds we tend to, the longing for connection, They're not ours alone. They are part of the shared human experience. And in that awareness, something softens, something opens. The heavy weight of being separate begins to dissolve, and in its place we find peace. Buddhism teaches us that presence is the doorway to peace. Often loneliness creeps in when we drift into the past or project ourselves into the future. We replay old memories. We worry about what hasn't yet come, and in doing so, we disconnect from ourselves, from the now. But mindfulness invites us back to the breath, back to the body, back to this moment. And when we're fully present, even for just a breath or two, we begin to feel a sense of connection, not from outside, but from within. But what do we do when loneliness shows up like a storm? Our instinct is to run from it, numb it, distract ourselves. But Buddhism offers a different path. Sit with it. Don't resist. Acknowledge it, gently, lovingly. Because when we stop pushing loneliness away, we start creating space for healing. We begin to understand it, not as a failure, but as a signal, a quiet request from within. Reconnect with yourself. And here's something else worth remembering. You're not the only one who feels this way. Right now, in this very moment, millions of others feel the exact same ache. You may walk your path alone, but you're not alone in walking it. And sometimes, just knowing that someone else understands, even from afar, is enough to ease the weight. Another key to healing loneliness is self-compassion. In the silence of loneliness, we often turn against ourselves. We blame, we judge, we say things in our minds that we'd never say to someone we love. But what if you treated yourself with kindness instead? What if instead of criticizing your loneliness, you offered yourself compassion? Just as you would for a dear friend, when we hold space for ourselves with gentleness, not judgment, we begin to heal. Loneliness isn't a flaw, it's a call to reconnect with yourself, with the moment, with the deeper truth of life. Next time loneliness visits, don't run. Breathe, be still, feel it. Understand that it is a visitor, not a permanent resident. Let it teach you. Let it guide you back to yourself. Because even in your loneliest moments, you are never truly alone. You are part of a vast, interconnected world. You are part of something greater. And now, we come to a deeper question. Who are you? Really? We all wear masks. We wear them to fit in, to be seen, to feel safe. Our job title, our social media presence, the roles we play in life. They become our identity. But when the noise quiets, when we take those masks off, even for a moment, we're left with the question, who am I beneath all of this? From a Buddhist view, the ego is the mask. It tells us we are separate. It clings to identity. It seeks validation, recognition, praise. But the ego is not our essence. When someone criticizes you or overlooks you or challenges your sense of worth, what's hurting? It's not the real you. It's the ego trying to protect itself. But if you wait, if you breathe, you'll notice something. The sting fades, the tension loosens, and beneath the ego's grasp, you begin to sense a deeper truth. You are not your titles, not your labels, not your roles. You are something far more spacious, something far more still, something already whole. So today, if you're feeling lost or alone, remember this. You are not broken. You are not separate. You are not the mask you wear. You are connected. You are enough. And you are loved. Breathe into that truth. Live from that space. And you'll discover that even in silence, even in solitude, you are held by something infinite. We are not defined by what we own. We are not the sum of our accomplishments, nor the roles we play in the eyes of others, not our job titles, not our social media profiles, not even our past. These are just layers, temporary garments worn by the ego, passing clouds in the vast sky of our true being. In Buddhism, this insight is called anatta, the teaching of non-self. It reminds us that the self we cling to, the one shaped by achievements, appearance, approval, is not who we truly are. The ego wants to be important. It wants recognition, validation, control. But real peace doesn't come from proving ourselves. It comes from letting go of the need to. True identity isn't fixed. It flows. We change. We grow. We take on roles: parent, friend, student, leader. But these are just roles, not our essence. Life is dynamic, yet the ego resists change. It clings to identity like a lifeline, afraid that if we change, we'll somehow vanish. But the truth is, when we let go of who we think we should be, we uncover who we truly are. Take a moment and reflect. How do you feel when you're praised? Most of us enjoy it. It feels good. It lifts us, if only for a moment. But that moment fades, and soon the ego is hungry again, chasing the next compliment, the next pat on the back. Now flip it. How do you feel when you're criticized, hurt, defensive, maybe even angry? The ego takes criticism personally, as if it threatens our very worth. But what if it didn't? What if praise and criticism were just passing sounds? Buddhism teaches us to observe without clinging. The ego wants to personalize everything, but you are not your praise. You are not your criticism. You are not your image or the stories others tell about you. You are something deeper, quiet, grounded, vast. Mindfulness is the path inward. It allows us to see the ego's tricks, its constant seeking, comparing, and fearing. It helps us remember our worth isn't earned. It's not based on success, beauty, or applause. It simply is. You are worthy because you exist, because you are a part of this vast, interconnected universe. Letting go of the ego's grip takes time. It takes courage, patience, and a willingness to face discomfort. But what we gain is freedom. Freedom from proving, freedom from pretending, freedom from performing for acceptance. When we release the mask, we see others more clearly too, not as threats or rivals, but as fellow souls on the same journey. Now let's talk about another root of our suffering: desire. Imagine a tiny seed planted in the soil of your mind. At first it's nothing, a small wish, a quiet longing. But slowly it grows, stretching its roots through your thoughts, twisting into your decisions, your emotions, your sense of peace. That seed is desire. We all feel it. We want comfort, success, belonging. Desire is part of being human, but left unchecked, desire becomes a vine, uncontrollable, consuming. It tells us, you need more money, more recognition, more love, more control. It whispers, if you just had this one thing, then you'd be happy. But once we get it, the happiness is short-lived, and the desire moves on to its next target. This is the endless loop. In Buddhism, it's taught that desire is the root of suffering, not because wanting is wrong, but because attachment to desire pulls us from the present moment. We begin to live for what's missing, chasing the next fix, and missing the richness of what's already here. You might be thinking, but isn't it natural to want things? Success, love, peace of mind. Yes, it is. But desire becomes suffering when we believe we must have these things to be whole. When we hinge our peace on outcomes, we lose touch with the peace that's already available now. So what do? We don't reject desire. We see it clearly. We don't fight the ego. We become aware of it. We don't cling. We learn to release. Through mindfulness, we return to presence, to breath, to the space beneath thought. And in that space, we begin to feel something true, that we are enough, that we don't have to chase or prove or become. We already are. Let go of the mask, let go of the chase, and return to yourself. Not the self shaped by the world, but the one untouched, unwavering whole. In that stillness, you'll find peace. You'll find freedom. You'll find your true self, spacious, grounded, and already complete. Yes, it's natural to desire. There's nothing wrong with wanting good things, a better life, deeper love, meaningful success. Desire can be a powerful force. It moves us, inspires us, pushes us to grow. But the question is not whether we desire, it's how we relate to those desires. Because when we cling to them, when we believe our happiness depends on fulfilling them, we trap ourselves. We enter a cycle of craving and dissatisfaction, always reaching, never resting. Take a moment and reflect. What are your deepest desires? A promotion, a bigger house, love, recognition, security? Now ask yourself, when you've gotten what you wanted in the past, how long did the happiness last? A day? A week? Before long, the mind is reaching again, already planting the next seed of longing. This isn't a flaw, it's human. We're raised in a world that tells us to keep reaching, higher, faster, more. But this chase, it can leave us feeling empty, as though we're running a race with no finish line. The Buddha understood this. He taught that suffering doesn't come from having desires. It comes from attachment to them. It's not the wish that hurts us. It's the belief that we are incomplete without it. That belief, that we must have something to be whole, creates suffering. Because when we don't get what we want, we feel lacking. And even when we do get it, the peace is short-lived. We begin to fear losing it. And eventually, we do. So what's the alternative? How can we live with desire without letting it rule our lives? The answer lies in mindfulness. Instead of blindly chasing desire, we learn to see it, observe it, acknowledge it, and then let it go. This doesn't mean giving up on dreams or ambition. It means releasing the grip, the belief that our happiness depends on the outcome. Imagine living without that constant need for more. Imagine finding peace right where you are. That's what mindfulness offers. A chance to witness our desires, honor them, but not be enslaved by them. We can still dream, still strive, but without attaching our self-worth to what we achieve. In Buddhism, this is called detachment, not from life, but from clinging. It's freedom through understanding. We stop believing that possessions, people, or achievements will complete us. We start realizing that we are already whole. Let's put it another way. Think of a flower. It blooms without striving. It doesn't compare itself to the flower beside it. It accepts the sunlight, the rain, the soil. Without clinging to any of it, it grows because that is its nature. And so can we. We can live with openness and grace, allowing ourselves to want, without needing those wants to define us. So no, desire isn't the enemy. But attachment to desire, that's what binds us. When we change our relationship to desire, we discover a deeper peace, one not tied to getting or achieving, but to simply being. Gratitude replaces craving, presence replaces striving, and in that shift, we find real joy, not later, but now, and now. Let's talk about something most of us try to avoid: aging, mortality, the truth we quietly resist. Sit with me for a moment. Breathe slowly. One day you look in the mirror, and the face staring back is still you. But it's changed. There are lines now, soft reminders of laughter, worry, time. Your eyes look more tired, the skin a little looser, the body aches in places that once felt strong. And you may wonder, where did the time go? But this isn't something to fear. Aging is not a mistake. It's not something to be fixed. It is life unfolding. Every breath you take brings change. Every year leaves its mark. Not as damage, but as evidence. You were here. Yet so many of us turn away from this truth. We rush to cover the signs. We chase youth. We pretend that time will wait. But it doesn't. It never does. Still, this isn't a tragedy. Aging reminds us of impermanence. It teaches us to let go, to cherish what is. You don't need to resist this change. You can honor it, because with age comes wisdom. With time comes clarity. You begin to see what really matters, not how long you live or how much you've achieved, but how present you are for the life you already have. So yes, desire is part of life, and yes, aging is too. But peace comes from letting go, not of life, but of illusion, the illusion that happiness is somewhere else, that youth is everything, that we are what we achieve. Buddhism shows us a gentler way. Live fully, love deeply, want freely, but hold it all lightly, and in that gentle letting go, you will find the freedom you've been searching for all along. In Buddhism, we learn a gentle truth. Everything that comes together must also fall apart. This is not sadness. It is not tragedy. It is simply the way things are. A flower blooms and fades. The wind rises and settles, and your body too, once bursting with energy, will one day grow still. We fear this. We fear aging because we associate it with loss. Loss of beauty, loss of strength, loss of control. But what if aging is not a falling apart, but a quiet returning? There is beauty in slowing down. There is strength in softness. And there is freedom in letting go of the need to hold everything tightly. We don't just fear age, we fear death. But death is not the enemy. It is not lurking in the shadows, waiting to steal something from us. Death is part of the rhythm. As night follows day, death follows life, and both are necessary. When you walk through a forest, do you only admire the green leaves, or do you also notice the golden ones falling softly to the ground? They are not waste. They become soil. They become life. Your aging is not a decline. It is a return to stillness, to simplicity, to truth. Many spend their lives running from death, but the wise learn to walk beside it, not in fear, but in peace. To know that each day is a step closer to death is not morbid. It's a call to wake up, to drink your tea with both hands, to feel the breeze without rushing it, to speak with care, knowing words have weight. People often ask, "Master, how do I stop fearing the end?" And I say, begin by living fully, now. When you are truly here in this breath, in this step, there is no fear. There's only presence. Growing old is not a curse, it is a gift. In youth, we collect, we chase, we build names and reputations. In age, we release, we give, we return. And in this letting go, we find a new kind of lightness, a peace not tied to holding, but to being. You begin to feel your soul, not as an idea, but as a presence, a quiet knowing that does not wrinkle, does not fade, does not die. There was once an old monk. He could barely walk. His hands trembled, his voice soft as dry leaves in the wind. But when he looked at you, there was no weakness, there was only light. He said, "I am like the evening sun, not as high, not as hot, but still shining, still warming the earth." This is how we grow older, not clinging to the morning but welcoming the evening. We become less about the rush and more about the quiet, less about becoming, and more about being. You do not need to escape aging. You need to understand it, honor it, welcome it. It is not the falling away of life. It is the deepening of it. When you stop fighting time, you become as timeless. And when your body is ready to rest, you will not be afraid, because you have walked with truth. You have seen the beauty of change, and you know that what you are was never just this body. So walk gently now. Be kind to your wrinkles. Smile at the slowness. This is not the end of life. It is the heart of it. In life, one of the deepest pains we carry is the pain of comparison. We look at others, their successes, their families, their photos, and quietly we ask, why not me? Why is my life so different? It's human, it's familiar, and it's deeply painful. Because comparison doesn't just envy another, it whispers to us, you are not enough. But what we see in others is only a surface. We don't see their private grief, their quiet doubts, their inner storms. Everyone is carrying something. And the Buddha once said, comparison is the thief of joy. Because the more we measure ourselves against others, the more we lose sight of what actually makes us happy. We forget our own path, our own rhythm, our own beauty. Have you ever felt it? That ache after scrolling through someone else's life? That quiet voice that says, they have what I lack. But it's not truth. It's envy. The feeling that what we are isn't enough. But what if it is? What if you're already whole, exactly as you are? Buddhism teaches that true peace doesn't come from what we have, but from how we see what we have. When we tie our worth to anything external, we will always be chasing and always be afraid to lose. But when we look inward, when we embrace our own journey, the need to compare begins to dissolve. We don't need more. We need presence. We need self-kindness. We need to remember. The light you see in others exists in you too. So release the illusion, let go of the race, and return to your own path. There, in the quiet, you will find not just peace, but yourself. Whole, enough, alive. The painful truth is this. When we compare ourselves to others, we trap ourselves in a cycle of dissatisfaction. It tells us we're not enough, that we need to be different, that someone else's life is the standard we must live up to. But this story isn't true. It's a story written by the ego, not by your heart. Look around your life right now. What do you have right now that brings you peace? It might be small, a quiet corner, the warmth of someone's love, the comfort of a morning routine, the stillness in a moment of silence. These things, often overlooked, are the foundation of real joy. When we're lost in comparison, we miss them. We miss the beauty of our own life. Buddhism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our thoughts, our actions, our presence. When we stop comparing and start accepting, the world begins to look different. We realize that our worth is not measured by others' opinions or by how much we achieve. True peace comes not from having more, but from wanting less. Not from being better than, but from being at peace with. One of the most liberating truths we can embrace is this. Your journey is your own. When you stop comparing, you take back your power. You no longer allow someone else's life to dictate how you feel about your own. This doesn't mean we stop admiring others. It means we celebrate their success without diminishing our own. Because their path is not your path, and your light doesn't dim because someone else is shining. Comparison also wounds our relationships. When we compare ourselves to friends, colleagues, even loved ones, we create distance, resentment, jealousy. Instead of sharing in someone's joy, We shrink under the weight of our own perceived lack. But there's another way. Buddhism teaches us to cultivate sympathetic joy, to rejoice in the happiness of others. Their success is not a threat. It is proof that joy exists and that it's possible for all of us. So the next time you feel the ache of comparison, pause. Ask yourself, what am I really seeking? Is it approval, validation, worth? And then remember, none of these can be found outside of you. Peace comes from within, from embracing who you are without needing to be better than anyone else. The more you practice mindfulness and self-acceptance, the less comparison will hold power over you. And slowly, the envy that once stung begins to soften, begins to fade, replaced by appreciation for your life, your journey, yourself. Now imagine this. You've been carrying a heavy bag on your back. Inside are stones, each stone a memory, a mistake, a heartbreak, a regret, a moment you can't stop replaying. And every day, the bag gets heavier. But you keep walking with it, because you've forgotten that you're allowed to set it down. This is how many of us live, burdened by the past, haunted by memories we can't change. We think, if only I had done something differently, if only they hadn't hurt me, if only I could go back. But the past is not a place we can live. It has already happened, and no amount of replaying it will rewrite it. Still, we carry the pain, and in doing so, we let it shape our present. Buddhism teaches that the past is not our home. We don't heal by reliving it. We heal by letting it go. But letting go does not mean forgetting. It means no longer allowing it to rule your life. Yes, the pain was real. Yes, the wounds were deep. But today, this moment, you are free to stop carrying it. When you catch yourself living in the past, gently bring yourself back to the breath, to your body, to what is here, right now. This moment is fresh. It is untouched by regret. It is alive with possibility. You don't need to deny what hurt you. You only need to stop letting it weigh you down. Freedom begins when you realize you don't need to carry everything forever. Though you can set it down. You can walk lighter. You can live, not defined by comparison, not bound by the past, but present, aware, whole. This is the gift of mindfulness. This is the path of peace, and it begins right here, with you. The more we focus on what has happened, the more we stay bound to it. The past doesn't need to define us. Yes, memories are a part of us. They shape us, remind us, even teach us. But it's not the memories themselves. It's how we relate to them that determines whether we suffer or grow. Are you living in the past, or are you learning from it? One of Buddhism's core teachings is the practice of mindfulness. But mindfulness isn't just about paying attention to the present moment. It's about observing our thoughts and emotions without attachment. When we view our memories through the lens of mindfulness, we begin to see them clearly for what they are. Just memories, not truths, not identities, not life sentences. They are not you. They do not control you. They are clouds passing across the sky of your awareness. Letting go of the past does not mean forgetting it. It means releasing its grip on your present. It means acknowledging that the hurt was real, but also accepting that it's over. The mind, however, loves to replay the same scenes again and again. Regret, blame, pain. It becomes a movie we never stop watching. And in time, this movie shapes the way we see ourselves, the way we interact with others, and the way we respond to life. So how do we stop the loop? Forgiveness, but not the kind you've been told about. True forgiveness is not about letting someone off the hook. It's not about excusing what happened. It's about freeing yourself from the pain that binds you to it. Forgiveness is the act of putting down the heavy bag you've been carrying for far too long. You no longer need to hold on to the bitterness, the resentment, the anger. It doesn't mean what happened was okay. It means you're no longer willing to let it define you. And forgiveness must begin within. We're often hardest on ourselves. We judge, we blame, we replay the mistakes, but we forget. We are human. We are learning. We did the best we could with what we knew at the time. Self-forgiveness is not weakness. It's wisdom. It's the courage to say, I'm still worthy, I'm still growing, and I choose to move forward. Another path to freedom is found in embracing impermanence. Everything changes, pain fades, so does joy, nothing stays. And that's not something to fear. It's something to free you. When we stop clinging to the past, when we stop resisting change, we open ourselves to the flow of life. The past becomes a teacher, not a prison. You may never forget the wounds, and you don't have to, but you don't need to let them shape your every step. The past will always be there, but it no longer needs to walk beside you. Let it rest, because this moment, this breath, this step, this sunrise is where your life is happening. And now, we arrive at a truth at the heart of it all. Freedom comes not from resistance, but from acceptance. Imagine you are standing at the edge of a vast river. The current is strong, ever moving. You can try to fight it, to push against its flow, to hold on to every branch, every rock, every regret. But what if you simply let go? What if you allowed the river to carry you, not away from life, but deeper into it? This is the way of mindfulness. This is the path of peace. You are not your past. You are not your pain. You are not your mistakes. You are presence. You are awareness. You are free. And every moment, you are being offered the chance to begin again. The current is strong. The water moves swiftly, carrying everything in its path. You try to fight it, to swim against the current. But quickly, exhaustion sets in. The struggle only deepens. Every ounce of energy spent resisting only pulls you further into suffering. But then, you stop. You let go. You allow yourself to float. And in that surrender, something changes. You realize the current isn't just pulling, it's also carrying. You don't have to fight every wave. You don't have to control every turn. This is the power of acceptance. Acceptance is not giving up. It's not weakness or passivity. It is the strength to meet life as it is, not as we wish it to be. Joy and sorrow, success and failure, health, pain, love, loss. All of it is here. All of it is now. We spend so much of our lives resisting reality, wishing for more time, longing for different outcomes, hoping for peace to arrive once everything is fixed. But the truth is simple. The more we resist what is, the more we suffer. Buddhism teaches us that suffering is not created by life itself, but by our resistance to it. We think, if I could just change this, then I'll be happy. If only things were different, then I'd be at peace. But real peace doesn't come from perfect conditions. It comes from within, through acceptance. When we stop fighting life, we stop layering suffering on top of pain. We stop being consumed by the what-ifs and the if-onlys. We begin to see that strength doesn't lie in controlling everything. It lies in how we respond. Acceptance means letting go of the illusion of permanence. Everything changes, everything passes. The joy you feel today, the pain you carried yesterday, none of it stays forever. And so we must learn to live fully in each moment, without clinging, without fear. This doesn't mean we become cold or detached. It means we love deeper, live richer, because we understand how fleeting everything truly is. Think of a tree in the wind. It does not fight the breeze. It bends, it sways, and yet it remains rooted. It is not broken. This is the lesson. To remain grounded while moving with life. Acceptance does not mean giving up on growth. It means facing truth with clarity, and from that clarity, acting with wisdom, not reaction. We stop acting out of fear and begin choosing from a place of compassion. Another form of resistance we carry is the need for approval. We worry about what others think. We try to live up to their expectations, and in doing so, we betray ourselves. But acceptance also means this, letting go of the need to be accepted by others. We learn to accept ourselves as we are. Flawed, human, still growing. Many of us carry a quiet war within, a constant inner judgment, a voice that says we aren't enough. But when we accept our imperfections, we finally give ourselves permission to be. Not perfect, not finished, just here, just real. This is the freedom of self-acceptance, the end of striving to be someone else, and the beginning of peace with who we are. The Buddha spoke of the four noble truths. The first, suffering exists, but he didn't stop there. He showed us that suffering can be transformed, not through resistance, but through understanding. And understanding leads to acceptance. With acceptance comes compassion. We begin to see others differently, no longer as rivals, but as fellow travelers. Every person you meet is carrying a story, a burden, a longing, a quiet ache for peace. When we recognize this shared humanity, we stop judging. We begin to open our hearts. Compassion is born from acceptance, and acceptance is born from mindfulness. To be mindful is to be present, to meet this moment exactly as it is. No judgment, no resistance, not trying to fix it, not trying to escape it, just being with it. We stop chasing what we don't have and begin to appreciate what's already here. But know this, acceptance is not a one-time choice. It's a practice, something we return to again and again. Each time we let go of control, each time we breathe into discomfort instead of avoiding it, each time we soften instead of tighten. We are practicing acceptance. The freedom that comes from acceptance is not the freedom of escape. It is the freedom to be fully alive, right here, right now, not tomorrow, not once everything is perfect, but in this moment, just as it is, without fear, without resistance, without needing anything else. This is the way of peace. This is the power of acceptance. There is a kind of freedom that doesn't come from having no struggles, but from learning how to meet those struggles with grace. It's the freedom to live fully, even when life is difficult, to walk through storms without fear, to breathe through pain without becoming it, to trust in your own inner strength, no matter what comes. So how do we begin to practice this? We start here, by observing our thoughts and emotions without judgment. Notice when you are resisting, a difficult moment, a painful feeling, a part of yourself you've struggled to accept. Instead of pushing it away, try this. Let it be there, acknowledge it, breathe with it, be gentle. And as you do, you may notice something. The weight begins to lift. You begin to feel lighter. This is not the absence of struggle. This is real freedom, the ability to face life with an open heart and a peaceful mind. Acceptance allows us to live without the constant burden of resistance. And in doing so, we find something deeper than comfort. We find peace. Yes, the world will continue to change. Yes, the winds of life will blow. But when we learn to accept them, we become unshaken, rooted in our own being, grounded in our strength. And in this way, we begin to truly live. Perhaps something within you is beginning to shift. Perhaps you felt it through these reflections. these truths. It's not easy, and it was never meant to be. But by facing suffering, by understanding impermanence, by letting go of resistance, you've already begun the process of transformation. Imagine again that river. Its surface is calm, but beneath, the currents move fast and deep. Life often feels this way. Stillness on the outside, while below the surface unseen challenges pull at us. But here's what you must remember. The river is always moving, and so are you. You have never been stuck, only learning. You have never been broken, only reshaping. And you've always had the strength to navigate the flow. What you're seeking is not out there. It's already within you. The final painful truth we must face is also the most liberating. We have the power to transcend suffering, not by escaping pain, but by walking through it, eyes open, heart steady, by forgiving what was, by releasing what no longer serves us, by choosing compassion over control. Forgiveness isn't weakness, it's freedom. It's not about forgetting, it's about saying, I will no longer carry this pain with me. And that forgiveness must begin with yourself. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are a human being, learning, falling, getting back up again. You're doing your best, and that is enough. The Buddha's first noble truth was simple. Suffering exists, but he didn't stop there. He showed us that suffering can be transformed through understanding, through wisdom, through compassion, through acceptance. And what does this lead to? It leads to a profound compassion for yourself and for others. Because everyone is carrying something. Everyone is walking through something you cannot see. Acceptance reveals this. Mindfulness deepens it. Compassion is born from it. To be mindful is to stop running, to stop escaping, to turn, instead, toward the present moment and say, this is my life, and I will meet it fully. Acceptance is not a one-time act. It's a daily practice. Each breath, each step, each moment is a chance to begin again. The more you return to this practice, the more natural it becomes. You stop trying to force life. You begin to flow with it. And in that flow, you find clarity, you find calm, you find yourself. This is the freedom acceptance gives us, not the freedom to escape life, but the freedom to be fully alive within it. No matter what happens, no matter what pain comes, no matter how strong the current becomes, you now know how to meet it. So if you've made it here, if you've walked this path through pain, truth, and transformation, know this. You've already begun to change. You've chosen to live with eyes open, to meet your life honestly, to embrace all of it, its pain, its beauty, its mystery, and that is truly remarkable. But don't stop here. Keep going, keep evolving, keep listening, keep loving. There's always more to discover. This path beyond pain is not about escape. It is about becoming wiser, more open, more whole. It is about seeing beauty everywhere, even in the struggle, especially in the struggle. Thank you for walking this journey. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your courage. May you move forward with grace, with wisdom, with peace. And may you always remember, you are not your suffering. You are the awareness that transcends it. And in that awareness, there is freedom. If you've gained something from this video, even just one insight, one shift in perspective, I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments. Your voice matters. Your reflections may be exactly what someone else needs to hear. And remember, Insightful Journey is here for you. Whenever you find yourself in need of guidance, reflection, or simply a reminder that you're not alone, return here. This space is for you. We're walking this path together, exploring life's deepest truths, one step at a time. There's always more to learn, more to understand, more to become. Also a small but important reminder. So many people watch these videos, but only 0.2% subscribe. If you found meaning or value in this series, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Insightful Journey. Your support helps us continue creating content that uplifts, heals, and transforms. And more than anything, we'd love to hear from you. Your journey is important. Your insights are powerful. And they might just inspire someone else who's walking their own path. May you walk this path with courage and compassion. May you find peace, even in the face of challenge. And may you always remember, beyond pain, there is transformation.